Hey guys, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home, and I had another really great day at thrift stores. Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for coming back to the channel. In today's video, I've got a few review titles to run through, a couple new cool releases from Universal, Paramount, Warner Brothers, all kinds of stuff. But I also had two really good finds at thrift stores that I want to share with you as well. So this will be your typical kind of Blu-ray and 4K collection update. I actually don't know if there's any 4Ks in here. There might be one. I'll have to check the pile. But I think it's mostly Blu-rays in this case, but I'm always looking to update you guys on what I picked up and maybe give you some ideas and also review a bunch of new titles that maybe don't make it to 4K, but only make it onto Blu-ray, so you can check those out as well. If Blu-ray and 4K collecting, movies, home theater stuff, if that's your kind of thing, you're gonna really like the channel. I think you should subscribe. Definitely consider hitting the subscribe button and turning on those notifications so you know when my videos go live. And also please like these videos and let me know what you've picked up lately. It's always good to hear from you guys as well. With that being said, let's hop right into this collection update. So I'm gonna start with some of the review titles that I got in from studios first. First, of course, is Shutter Island. This is the only 4K in this video. This is the Shutter Island 4K 10th Anniversary Steelbook. I just did a full video review on this, but it's really cool, has some nice artwork. But, you know, is it going to be worth an upgrade over your Blu-ray? Go check out my review video to see if that's worth it. But that's a cool one that I added to the collection that I was really excited to get in. Now, this one I got in today from Mill Creek. And Mill Creek has been killing it lately with like complete series box sets. They're basically the only ones out there who are taking very popular TV shows and putting them out on complete series on Blu-ray in a nice, simply packaged box set. I have the complete series of Miami Vice, Community, there was King of Queens, and now the latest one is The Mindy Project. This was a very popular show. I believe it started on NBC and then it moved over to Hulu for its last season. But this has all 6 seasons on it, 117 episodes, all on Blu-ray. So props to Mill Creek for putting that out. They're really the only ones doing Blu-ray TV series right now. I'm really, fingers crossed, hoping that since they're working with NBC on stuff like The Mindy Project and Universal anyway. Actually, was The Mindy Project Fox? The Mindy Project might have been Fox. I don't. You guys correct me in the comments because I haven't actually watched this show, but I've been meaning to, and so I probably will now that I have the whole box set. I can't remember if it was Fox or Universal. It's definitely a Universal title. I don't know. Let me know. But what I'm really hoping for is Blu-ray releases of The Office and Blu-ray releases of Parks and Rec. Complete series. Those are two of my favorite TV shows ever. I've seen both of them probably. I've seen every episode of The Office probably like 5 times, and I've seen every episode of Parks and Rec probably at least twice. Love those shows, and so I'm really, you know, fingers crossed because they only have DVD releases right now, and I really want them in HD. I really want a Blu-ray because they look great on Netflix and other streaming platforms where they are in HD, and I'm really hoping for it. So hopefully, if these are successful and shows like this are successful, we'll get some better shows on Blu-ray. Next up, I've got a Blu-ray copy here from Warner Brothers, and it is Motherless Brooklyn. This actually has a great cast: Edward Norton, Bruce Willis, Alec Baldwin, Willem Dafoe, and Gugu Mbatha-Raw. I'm not sure about her. I don't know much about her, but I know the other 4 guys, obviously. And so I've heard pretty good things. It's kind of like a 1950s. It almost feels like a film noir type thing. There's some mystery going on. I thought it was pretty good, actually. It's got a really good cast. You know, it's not going to be in my top 10 of the year or anything, but it's an entertaining movie. It's kind of like this murder mystery, and Edward Norton does a great job, and I love watching Willem Dafoe and everything. So this was a really cool movie. I would recommend it. And then speaking of Willem Dafoe, I also got in The Lighthouse. This stars Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, and they're pretty much the only people in this movie. It's just the 2 of them, other than, I won't go into it because of spoilers, but what a great movie. I watched this the other day. It is nominated for Best Cinematography at the Oscars. Willem Dafoe should have got Best Supporting Actor or Best Actor, depending on what they did. But it looks like they didn't campaign very hard because he was awesome in it. Robert Pattinson was awesome, and it's a super cool movie from Robert Eggers, who's the director of The Witch. He did The Witch, and now he's doing The Lighthouse. They're both kind of these New England horror tales. The Witch is definitely more horror focused than The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse is a little more supernatural, H.P. Lovecraft, kind of, stories you'd find from like the old sailors on the sea talking about sea monsters and curses and, bad luck, good luck, and, what not to do and how the weather affects them and, all that kind of like old sailor type stuff. But it was really cool being from New England where this was set. Not where it was filmed. It was filmed in New Brunswick, I think. It was filmed up in Canada, Nova Scotia maybe. But it is a New England folktale, and it's based on a true event, actually, where, these guys kind of got stuck in the lighthouse. But I thought it was awesome. Black and white. It's shot in a very different aspect ratio, 1.19 to 1. So it's very squared off, but it's super cool. It's a throwback, and it has a lot of like interesting elements, and there's a lot to think about as you watch this. But if for nothing else, Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson do an incredible job in this. Willem Dafoe especially. Again, A24 stuff just gets snubbed at the Oscars for some reason. Last year, Toni Collette should have been nominated for Hereditary, and Willem Dafoe should have been nominated for Lighthouse, but it is what it is. Now I've got one in here from Sony, actually, and it's an action thriller, kind of fast-paced cop police thriller, and it is Black and Blue, starring Naomi Harris and Tyrese Gibson. I do like cop movies. I'm actually a massive fan of the show Live PD. I kind of always thought, even going into college, I thought like, I'm going to be a police officer. I'm going to be an FBI agent. I'm going to be something. I always was interested in that, and kind of that's what led me to be interested in kind of murder mystery movies and thrillers and, like serial killers and psychology and stuff like that. It's all from that background. But this is a cool, just kind of, cop movie. You got corrupt cops. You got a lot of action. Tyrese Gibson's always cool. And there's, some pretty interesting stuff in this. I always like the corrupt cop stuff, but it also reminded me a little bit of End of Watch. I thought End of Watch was better than this. But this was a cool movie. If you just want like a fun action movie on a Friday night, Black and Blue was a lot of fun to watch. So the next one I have here is from Universal, and it is a pretty cheesy horror movie called Countdown. This is the type of movie that like won't be relevant in 10 years or something, because it's based on an app that basically this girl discovers, and it basically tells you when is your death coming. It countdown to your death. And all these people download the app, and their time's ticking away, and they have to figure out a way to save her life and blah blah blah. But it's one of those like, oh, technology is bad horror movies, which have become kind of cliched. They were super popular early 2000s, and then into the early part of the 2010s, where like mobile devices were taking off, and cell phones and iPhones and all that stuff were really big. This feels like it just missed the boat a little bit and missed that. And honestly, it's just, I'm a horror fan, and so this was like, it's cheesy. It's cheesy horror. It's not even Blumhouse. So, I didn't love it. It's only PG-13. It's the type of movie that I feel like a bunch of high school kids would go see on a Friday night and like be obnoxious and laugh and yell all the way through it, like I probably used to do, but not the type of thing that's going to be, particularly scary or particularly good. There's a lot of jump scares, but, that's about it. So it wasn't super impressive. And then I got also from Paramount, a kids movie, which I actually didn't expect to get, but I got Playing with Fire. This to me, it's right up there with like Daddy Daycare and the Tooth Fairy movie with The Rock, and there's another one where he's he's like a football player. Maybe that is Tooth Fairy. It's that same type of thing. I mean, it's got a cool cast. It's got John Cena, Keegan-Michael Key, John Leguizamo, but like, it's a goofy kids movie. It's rated PG. Like, if you wanted a family movie, this would probably be a pretty good one for you. It's, obviously not as risque as like Daddy's Home. Like I said, it's more like Daddy Daycare or something like that, where you've got like well-known actors, but they're kind of just goofing around. In this case, they are firefighters, and the kids are coming into the station. where they take the kids in, and so it's kind of goofy. If you're looking for a family movie, maybe you got kids, I'd recommend it for that, but don't expect too much from as an adult. It didn't do much for me. And then from Universal, I have Harriet, which this is getting a lot of hype. And I've heard great things, and so I was excited to check it out. And it is a pretty good movie. Harriet Tubman's, I'm a history guy, so she's an especially important person in the history of America and the Civil War, slavery, the Underground Railroad, and kind of rebellion. And it's got Cynthia Erivo is Harriet Tubman. It also has Leslie Odom Jr. from Hamilton fame, and Janelle Monáe, who's another singer. And so it's got a pretty cool cast. It was a pretty cool movie. If you don't know much about Harriet Tubman in that time period, it's definitely an interesting story, and she has a crazy, crazy life. So, is it as good as like 12 Years a Slave or something like that? No, but I'd say it's up there with, some of the better Civil War movies, but, it instead focuses on slavery itself and not just the war. It was pretty cool. I think it's better than like Birth of a Nation, which tries to tackle a similar topic. And like Free State of Jones. Like, it was better than those. There was really good performances in it, and I thought it was a really cool movie. And so only available on Blu-ray from Universal, but there's definitely some Oscar hype with Cynthia Erivo's portrayal of Harriet, and so check it out for that alone, I would say. So those were all the review copies, and now I've got to my really cool thrift store finds. And so I've pretty much been going every weekend. I didn't used to do this, but I have found that there's actually a good concentration within like 20 minutes of my house of Goodwill, Savers, Salvation Army, as well as some local thrift stores. So there's even a record store within 20 minutes of me, which you don't find anywhere anymore, like a legit record store. It's not just like a Newbury Comics or something, or a Bull Moose where they sell a lot of different stuff, including records. It's just a record store. And so there's some really cool stuff around me in my area, and I've been getting really lucky lately. So this weekend, on Saturday, I went to the Salvation Army. We're actually looking for some furniture for the house. Trying to find a cool kind of older piece. We have an older house, and so we always go thrifting for that stuff. I go with my wife, but I always look at the movies, of course. And then today, actually, this morning, I was at a Savers, and so both times I hit big. But yesterday at Salvation Army, I hit, I think, other than Dawn of the Dead, this is probably the best I've ever done at a thrift store. I found a factory sealed, brand new Criterion Collection Blu-ray of Wings of Desire. It's a Wim Wenders film. So I knew the director. I know him. He makes a lot of kind of art house movies. German, I believe. And it also has Bruno Ganz in it, who starred as Hitler in the movie Downfall, which was incredible. I really liked that. So it's from 1987. It's all, I shouldn't say it's all, a lot of it's in black and white. It is going to have English subtitles, and it's got a squared off aspect ratio, but just the fact this was $2.99, just sitting on the shelf, completely sealed. I mean, it's still got the sticker on the top. It's never been touched. And if you know Criterion, you don't get these for any cheaper than $20 brand new, and that's during the sale 4 times a year at Barnes & Noble or on their site. And then if you're lucky, you can find them used sometimes for $15, but that's about it. So to find one brand new sealed for $2.99 was an incredible deal. So while I was at Salvation Army, there were a couple Criterion DVDs that were factory sealed, still brand new, but I left those. I like to collect the Criterion Blu-rays. I don't have any DVDs right now. I started collecting those as Blu-rays, and both the titles that had DVDs at Salvation Army have Blu-ray releases available. So I left those for somebody else who will appreciate them, and I'm going to wait to find the Blu-rays for those. But outside of Salvation Army, that was a great find. And then today I went to Savers, and I'm looking around. Savers is a little expensive. They want $4 for Blu-ray or DVD no matter what. That's typical for Goodwill, where $4 for a Blu-ray is what you usually see, but their DVD is usually $2, and Goodwill always has 50% off sales that I don't often get at Savers. That being said, I found some cool stuff. The movie War Horse, I don't actually own it. It was $4. I can get it brand new for $10, so I left it there. The old movie Midway, about the Battle of Midway, that was a classic movie from like the 50s. Had some good actors in it, but it's like $7 on Amazon's new, so I'm not going to pay $4 used. And there were some other cool things that I was going back and forth on, some titles I'd never heard of. But what I did stumble upon that was really cool, almost as cool as Criterion, was a Kino Lorber Studio Classics release of Duel in the Sun, movies from 1946 in color, in the Academy 1.33 to 1 aspect ratio, that squared off aspect ratio, but completely restored here. Has some great actors, Gregory Peck, Lionel Barrymore, Joseph Cotton, Jennifer Jones, and there was one more person in this who I knew, Lillian Gish, and it was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, Best Supporting Actress and Best Actress, so it's got a great resume. And this was $18 on Amazon, so these don't go cheap. I found it on the shelf. It looked brand new. The disc looked like it had never been played. So for $4, it was an easy pickup. It has narration from Orson Welles. Charles Bickford's in this. Walter Houston. It has a ton of people. Directed by King Vidor. Produced by David Selznick, who produced Gone with the Wind. And it's kind of like this romance, kind of like Western movie. There's kind of a love triangle going on. There's, Western drama. And so, I heard really good things. Obviously, anything that is from this time period and Kino Lorber has worked on, I'm interested in. They do a great job. And for $4, it was a no-brainer. I had to pick it up. So that was a really good find. $18, $4. The Criterion is easily going to be $20, $25, and that was $3. So I had another really good weekend at thrift stores. So thanks for watching this video. I definitely recommend checking out your thrift stores. Go find your Goodwills, your Savers, your Salvation Armies. You never know. I always have better luck at Goodwill and at Savers. They're a little pricier. Salvation Army is cheaper. I haven't had as good of luck, but then you never know. One day you walk in and there's a Criterion Collection Blu-ray sitting on the shelf, brand new factory sealed. So it's incredible what you might find if you go out and go hunting, which is what I love to do. And so I love sharing that with you guys. But just a little collection update, talked about some review copies that might not get their own videos, all kinds of good stuff like that. And I do have some really exciting things like Rambo Last Blood. And then going back through the backlog, I want to look at stuff like E.T. I want to look at Predator. I want to look at some other 4K releases that you guys have been asking about and see if those are worth upgrading, as well as new stuff that's coming out like Jojo Rabbit, Dr. Sleep, kind of cool titles that are coming out around the Oscars, 1917. I'm excited for all these to see them in 4K. Hopefully they all get a good release, but plenty of reviews coming, so make sure you're subscribed and you have your notifications on so you know when those go out. Also, make sure to check all the links down in the description. Follow me on Instagram. Check out the merchandise store. Thank you to those who recently bought t-shirts. That was super cool to see. I really appreciate that. I'm going to be adding some new merch this week to the store, so stay tuned for that. And then check out the link to the Amazon Prime trial if you are interested in Amazon Prime, and sign up. That helps my channel. And then there are all kinds of links to Amazon items like my theater seating, my shelving, my speakers, receiver, all that good stuff, projector. If you do purchase anything or have any questions, let me know, but it helps support my channel. Amazon's been a really good way to generate some more revenue for the channel so that I can keep upgrading things like the camera equipment I've been talking about that's been upgraded. Hopefully you guys can notice the picture's been a little bit better. Picture quality, sound has been better. I'm trying to upgrade things, so spending the money, investing it back into the channel, and taking a lot of time on making this better as we grow and grow past 25,000 subscribers to 50 to 100. Who knows where we end up. So I appreciate all of you. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll be back soon with some more content very shortly.